Welcome in everybody to another episode of Cheat Code Weekly, where we discuss everything video game collecting and investing. I am Greg, of course, once again joined here by Henry, and today we're going to discuss, should the first release be the most important? Should the first release matter, regardless of what console it was released on? So in comics and sports, when we talk about the first release, it's quite definitive. It's the rookie card or the first appearance on the comic book. These are things that are well defined, and that is generally the most expensive card or the most expensive comic. The first appearance of Spider-Man, the rookie card of Michael Jordan. I guess Michael Jordan has a debate with the whole Star Jordan, but other rookie cards are generally well established. The Wayne Gretzky O-Pee-Chee. It's well established stuff. But with video games, we have this thing where even the first release of some stuff isn't always the most sought after version. And there's usually simultaneous releases that happen. A game might release on Sega Saturn and PS1, for example, but one of the releases will come first, but it's not always the most valuable. And this isn't going to talk about Japan or anything. We'll talk about Japan first releases or worldwide first releases in another video. Today, it's just about US. Should the first release matter more, even if it's on a bad console?
The game we're going to talk about is Need for Speed.
The
You got Speed,
Need for Speed 3DO. 1994 is the first ever release for the Need for Speed franchise. Then it hit PC in 1995, and it didn't come out in PS1 and Sega Saturn, which I think most people are probably introduced to this series on PS1. It didn't hit until 96, almost a full 2 years after the 3DO release. 3DO is even more dead than Saturn. There aren't even grails that really stand out on 3DO. Like, at least with Sega Saturn, we can sit here and talk about Panzer Dragoon Saga, Magic Knight, Rarest. 3DO, man. I'm like, D? Is D a 3DO grail? Like the horror game?
I don't know any 3DO games, man. To be honest, I don't know any 3DO games.
I think it's like Dino Park Tycoon is the literal grail, which is just a random rare video game. The 3DO copy, VGA 80, August 2023. It had like an Australia sticker on it, so it might not be a pure example here, but $260. The PC copy, VGA 85 for $900. That was in 2024. And the PS1 long box, 9.2B, not even that good of a copy, is still bringing in $3,000 as of August 2024. The jewel case, $2,000 as of November 2024. The Saturn copy, which again is kind of with the PS1 release, is under $200.
That's all you need to know. Buy PS1. I mean, okay, PC is still worth something. It's still niche, it's still a niche subset of collecting. I guess there are a lot of hopes from the community that PC would be something, but it's just the big box and the amount of supply out there, and the games that are coming out just weren't enough not enough momentum to actually carry PC.
Yeah, so far I would say PC collecting, the PC pump, if you want to call that, has kind of been failure to launch, unfortunately. There's a lot of potential there. I think it has a lot of supply issues. It just where you're not going to see PC grails ever because, we're talking pop 5 on everything. So even if you're a diehard PC collector and you want to do the PC games, who knows the next time we'll see a Need for Speed on PC?
Even then, the issue is that only VGA grades them, and only VGA can grade them. So you have you got to wait a long time to grade it. It's really expensive to grade with VGA, especially since it's a custom case. So it's hundreds of dollars, and yeah, it's niche, unfortunately. But speaking about niche,
well, I'm gonna fight here for 1 second. Or where were you gonna go?
I was just gonna go to GTA.
No, I'm let me give one more thing here with Need for Speed. One more thing, because I own a 3DO factory sealed copy of the game. So I am gonna put forth a fight here. I paid $500 for a 3DO factory sealed copy. It's nice. Where I genuinely think, with a 2-year difference here, even on a dead console like 3DO, it should matter. Now, if you want to argue this day release stuff, I think Sonic 2 on Game Gear is a 1-day release as well from Sega Genesis. If you want to argue those 1-day releases don't matter, okay. But 3DO is 2 years before the PS1 release. I think if we actually get into a thing where Need for Speed or first print matters, first first releases matter, like that has to. It has to. The 3DO copy shouldn't be seen as garbage just because it's on a garbage console when we're talking about a 2-year difference.
Warning, Greg Pumpkin coming. dude, sorry, graded 3DO is still dead. But yeah, I think it requires education for people. First of all, you got to get someone that really care about Need for Speed to be like, oh, I want the super first print of it. It's still going on IP. It's good, yep. But it's not top tier IP. And then second of all, you got to be like, hey, do you know that it came out for 3DO 2 years before everything else? And then
do you know,
like, no. And then maybe you can get, offload it for a couple $100 more.
Do you have a moment to talk about the first release of Need for Speed? Like, did you know?
Did you know? I have a copy of it. Anyway.
It came out on 3DO. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if that worked. Grand Theft Auto, go ahead.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto came out for PC November of 97. So 1 month before PS1 came out in December 97. Like you said, how many people do you think know that it came out for PC first? Everyone played Grand Theft Auto on PlayStation.
I think I only learned it came out on PC. You probably remember Default Gen Tyler made a meme video like talking about first release games, and like that's when I first figured out that it came out on PC because he like made a meme about it because the PS1 version sold for so much money that his meme was like it was like the 3DO meme that I just did where, oh, did you know it actually came out on PC?
So you got to make a dedicated video to Need for Speed. Need for Speed 3DO is the real grail. Anyways.
Well, okay, so is it, like you said, people need education. Is it literally just an education thing where if the stories or this knowledge of the first releases became more widespread, I don't even know how you could possibly get it to that point. But, if that happened, would we see the swing or does it just not matter?
But it has to also be accepted by the community. You can educate people all you want, but they could also say like, I don't care. I don't want 3DO games. Right?
And it's yeah.
It's the Mantle and Honus Wagner story that keeps getting told, but people care because it's expensive and it keeps getting more expensive because the story gets told over and over again and people believe it. But if you tell people this and they still don't care about 3DO and the community doesn't view it as the Need for Speed game to get, then it's just not going to go anywhere.
Well, especially when there's already been so much money spent on those other ones. To try and change that narrative from the people who have the expensive ones will never happen.
Yeah, but going back to Grand Theft Auto, enough Need for Speed 3DO pump. The issue with Grand Theft Auto on a PC is I think there's only one sealed copy. And it's literally a pop one, and it's sold privately for around $40K. The issue with having a pop one of anything is that you're not going to get price discovery. It's just going to transact one time. It's going to be held for years, and who knows when's the next time it's going to come out. So when you
pop
don't have
one is the best and worst thing possible.
Like for that right collector, they're going to pay up. They're going to pay up, around $40K. But if they don't transact it enough, then what's the next collector gonna be? Like you're like, oh, is it actually worth $40K? What's the real price? It's just whatever you set it at, and there's not enough confidence for people to come in and be like, oh, I really want the game, I'm gonna pay up more, right? And then versus PS1, you have copies that transact. The M rating on the back is the second print, the T rating on the back is the first print. And of this year, the M rating on the back 96A++ sold for around $10K, and the T rating on the back last year 98A also sold for $10K. What do you think about that?
I'm surprised that the 9.6A+ actually still almost brought in $10,000 earlier last year. Like, that's solid.
I think it's it's the seal. It's the A++ seal.
Getting a but it's like a second print, like you said, there's distinct first and second printings. Like a second print for almost 10,000.
Grand Theft Auto is a big franchise. Grand Theft Auto 6 is gonna come out. Maybe you could resell it for higher now. Who knows?
Is that the play? Like,
I don't know. I mean, someone bought it.
No, it is interesting though, right? We talk about this like first print mattering. Has Grand Theft Auto on PlayStation? I don't like. Even during the boom, did it get up to like a $30,000-$40,000 price tag?
Yeah, I did. I think it was also, was it a 96 A plus or A plus plus? It got up to 30 to
30-ish?
40K.
Okay, I had that in my head,
Yeah.
30-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, the PC one, like if it kind of outsold. Like it kind of won.
It kind of won. It kind of
I
won.
wish that we
But
had more copies. That's the issue. We
yeah,
just without more copies.
you don't know what the real price is because it doesn't transact again. Like if that PC one sold and there was another one that came out, it could just go down another 50%. We saw a lot of that happening in 2022 and 23. You have a copy that sells and then another one comes out 6 months later and it's half off.
No,
So it's, you
100%.
never know.
100%. I would love to just see one at auction because that was a
Mm-hmm.
private sale. Sometimes private sales are really, really good. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they're really bad. I would love to see what it would actually sell for at auction just to see if PC collectors go for it. Because the next one here, final example we're going to give you is Madden on the Apple II. Madden, the original John Madden Football, released on Apple II, 1988. That is an old PC, an old computer. Then it came out for
Mm-hmm.
PC and Commodore, and then Genesis in 1990, Super Nintendo in 1991.
To go on a little tangent here, there was a recent article that came out that said they were interviewing like old uh, basketball players that are retired. And these basketball players are, it was literally an article centered around how gaming is so prevalent amongst athletes of all sports like basketball. They're even talking about billiards, like a snooker player or something like that. And then he said, like, gaming was so consuming in his life that he had to stop it because it was affecting his play. And then a former basketball player said that like 75% of all basketball players they're just playing Madden.
That's
So
that's insane.
people like collectors shit on Madden because oh it's just a sports game, it's not worth anything. Like all these releases keep coming out every
Yeah,
single year, but it if any of these athletes come back and want to collect their video game nostalgia, it's going to be Madden because
the
that's all they
actual
play.
cultural relevance of sports titles like cannot be understated. 2K, Madden, FIFA, like these are the player base, like worldwide player base is massive.
Yeah, and it's not stopping; it's just getting even more popular. So, everyone can laugh at Madden, but if any of these guys come in and want to spend some money, they're going to buy Madden.
I'm glad you're in on my sports pump. Like I feel good about my FIFA games right now. That's what I like to hear.
Oh yeah, the Kobe
Yeah,
game
my
too.
Kobe's, right? I got those
Yeah, don't
set.
forget
They're
about
on
the
Sega
Kobe.
Saturn, dude.
Sega Saturn. You were crappy on it, and you have all these
They're
Sega
on
Saturn Kobe
Saturn. You're
games.
doomed. What was I thinking?
You gotta sell it on Golden, man. You gotta get the Sports Bros in on it.
Oh, that's
Uh,
hilarious.
yeah, but I mean, so for Madden specifically, PC copies do sell. They don't sell often. I think there are multiple sales around 2022, 23, but the last PC sale, VGA 85, sold for around 4K in November 23. Genesis one sold for 94A, sold for around 4K as well of this year, just recently, of 2024. It's 2025 now. Sorry. And
Yeah,
then
we'll get there.
Genesis 9, 90A sold for 5K of August 2024, and 94A plus sold for 15K in May of 2024.
That's
And
real.
these are the tuck boxes, the cardboard boxes, not the later print clamshell ones. So it seems like people want the Genesis copies, not the SNES copy or the PC copy. But I don't think we've ever seen an Apple II come up.
Hey, I can't remember. Like in my head, I have John Hopper saying something about
Mm-hmm.
the Apple II because I think at one point it was like the most expensive PC game sale. It might have been through Certified Link in like 2022 or something for 17th. Does that ring a bell at all?
Was it an Apple II? I don't know if it
I
was Apple II or it could have been just a PC
That's
copy
what kills
because
me about this because it's like it gets like I don't know what an Apple II is. Like, looking at it, like I know it's an old computer, but I can't look
uh-huh.
at it and be like, that's an Apple II game. Like
Yeah. I imagine it looks the same as like the PC
I assume
boxes,
it does
but
too, except in the corner it probably says Apple II.
I do remember that he sold to Probstein.
That is what? Sorry?
He sold it to Probstein. You know Probstein?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
Hopper did,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Hopper did.
Yeah, so he had a copy at one point.
He had a copy.
Well,
And sold it
there's
to
something.
ProXchange.
I wish I remember what it
I
sold
don't,
for.
but I don't know if it was Apple II. It could have just
I
been
know.
PC.
But
If it was sold
regardless,
for,
yeah, John Madden's copy, we had that sale of like $328,000. That pretty much cemented Genesis as the console to buy Madden on, regardless of where it released. Super Nintendo has Super Nintendo seems like it's probably second. But again, we have that issue with PC where they just don't transact. They just don't come up. So if you could for sure say, here's your Madden Apple II, we have one coming up in February, there's one coming up in November, you might see one next year. They don't exist. Whereas Genesis copies, we keep seeing them. They have solidified themselves. Their liquidity, there's some volume. It's what people are chasing now. And even lower grade copies, like you said, the 9.08 5K, that's real. Like that is real pricing for Madden. And I want to copy myself. I believe in the sports investment. I think that's a good narrative. It's expensive, man. I can't afford it.
With all your Kobe
I think the sports
games.
narrative is a good one. I do.
It is, but normal collectors, they're just like, the Madden sucks.
No, you're not selling to the freaking gamers who like, you play Call of Duty and Madden. Get out of here.
You got to get the new boys in. You got to get the new blood in.
Yeah, that they can laugh at them all they want. It's like how Call of Duty is one of the most expensive 360 games. Like
it really is.
It's a whole different market with new rules.
It is. Our buy sell hold this week, speaking about games that come out simultaneously for two different consoles, is going to be Breath of the Wild. Came out for a Switch, came out for Wii U on the same day, but there's a big price disparity. So a VJ 95 Plus, the one that we talk about usually, is sold for $12K of 2024. And then the VJ95 Wii U copy also sold in June of 2024 for $2K. So it's literally a 5 to 6x difference. What do you think about that?
I still like, I think that 95 first sold for 7,000 or 8,000 on Breath of the Wild first print. It was something like that. And when it sold, I was like, that is ridiculous. It'll never sell for this much again. And then the 95 plus sold for 12,000. I still think it just feels like you're paying the 2035 price. Like, I just don't see where the upside is and how many years it would possibly take to get upside on that at this point. It's what, 2017, I think, on Breath. It's older than you think, but still, we're talking 7 years. To me, that's an immediate sell. If you have a copy that's a 95, 9.88++, and you can get thousands of dollars, multiple thousands, I think that's an easy sell. But when you come down to raw copies on the Switch, they're like $250, $300. The 9.88 plus is 800. I like gambling raw copies on that. I think you should buy a raw copy. Don't spend 800 to 1,000. Just buy a raw copy, in my opinion, and you can just probably get a 9.88 plus.
I think there are only two VGA hundreds, so
there's two.
The likelihood. There are two of them.
There's two VGA 100s.
I believe there are two VGA 100s. So it's not top of pop, but
so what? The VGA 100 is a $30,000 game? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's sort of the issue. So for all intents and purposes, this 95 plus is the only one you get because the people who hold those VGA 100s are probably not going to sell them. But yeah, the issue is when you're spending $12K in 2024, you can get a nice Mario Kart like 948 plus for that price. So do you want that or do you want Breath of the Wild? It definitely is an issue. Do you want the Wii U
copy at all? I know you said the 95 plus was 2K. Like, I don't want it personally.
I think there is, if you get it really cheap, that's really it. It's clearly a Switch game. People play it on Switch. They identify it as like the Zelda game.
Yeah, it's a Switch game.
It's the Switch game.
Yeah. No, that's where I am too. I wouldn't really sell it for that either. I mean, I own a 9.88 plus on Wii U. Of course, like we're talking about the 7 controller, the first print, the definitive first print on Wii U. You can get a 9.88 plus now for like $150, $200. So, I mean, if you don't own one, I really okay, that's fine. Even if $250 you're paying for the Wii U copy, cool. I'm not selling anymore. Like, I think I have a couple raw copies. I'm not selling them anymore because they only sell for like 60, $70. So in that respect, I'm holding them. But there's just the Wii U copy isn't exciting. And I think the Switch copy is too much.
I think this really emphasizes that the console that the game comes out for really matters, because these are two simultaneous, like no first print, no first
not
release,
even a 1 day difference.
It's the same time, and then there's a huge disparity. So yes, the console that you collect for really matters.
And probably matters more than first print. Probably always will.
Yeah, rip Need for Speed 3DO. The pump is dead.
Lit $500 on fire there with that purchase.
Oh, man.
Let us know what you think. Should first print console be worth more? Is it just more important to buy for the certain console people like collecting for? Let us know your thoughts down below. Make sure to like and comment. It really helps out. And we will see you guys in the next episode.